Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak in this event. And let me just introduce Alastria. Alastria is a non-profit association created, let me minimize this, just, I cannot read. Yeah, created 3 years ago. We are right now more than 500 entities and with a heterogeneous composition. Even though it started with the companies as tractors, it is critical to empower small and medium enterprises to participate actively in the evolution of the blockchain applications and the use cases, and this is one of the missions of the association. It is also very important to collaborate with public administrations, research centers, universities, etc. So we welcome anybody. Now, in addition to being a normal association, speaking about blockchain and networking and so on, one of the main objectives is to promote the creation of actual working public permission networks. And here we see one of the networks operated by the members of Alastria. You see 65 million. This is operated in production for almost 2 years, okay, with this technology. But I want to stress the point that the association, the non-profit association, does not operate any single node or service of the network. The association just promotes the network. The network is completely operated by the members, and anyone can participate in running the network if they comply with some operational rules. As Pietro was saying, for EPSI, we have some of our own, even though not as sophisticated as EPSI, that have been set up, okay, the rules, and accepted by all members of the community. The rules are transparent, very critical, and non-discriminatory, even though we still have a long way to go in order to make this as decentralized as we want. So decentralization is our aim. We try to do whatever we can. By the way, there is no business model in operating the network. The money for companies is in the applications on top. Actually, this is a public permission blockchain network, which combines, this model is trying to combine the best of both worlds to create a blockchain network which is permissioned, but where the network is not controlled by any single company, a group of companies, or even a single government. The model is like a common pool resource, which is not controlled either by the state or by the invisible hand of the market, you need crypto economics or whatever. Common pool resources have existed for centuries, but they have been normally reduced to the management of natural resources and in a limited geographical scale, because they are natural resources. But for the first time, the blockchain can be considered as a techno-social, scarce or limited resource, where the principles of CPRs, common pool resources, can be applied very efficiently by encoding most of the rules into the blockchain infrastructure. Speculation, of course, should be taken as far away as possible from this infrastructure. And if putting together the words permissioned and decentralized seems strange to you, as it is for many in the crypto space, think twice, because there is no real decentralization in an anonymous network. Think about the internet backbone, about the real economy, about any essential public service like public health, public education, even the public roads of a country. They are all permissioned, because if there is a common good that is not infinite, like the air, then if you need it to be inclusive, fair, neutral, and not subject to extreme speculation and dominated by the rich and powerful, then you need the resource to be permissioned. And the blockchain is such a resource. Alastria focuses on the real economy versus the financial economy. Let me put this, okay, with the laser. So this is most of the hype where the blockchain is. We are not focusing on this. We are focusing on the real economy. The real economy is the part of the economy that produces goods and services rather than the part that consists of financial services such as banks, stock markets, and etc. This is good, but we are not really focused on this. And it makes sense because in general, the quality of life of Europeans is very correlated with the gross domestic product, GDP, of the region, which is the real economy, and the efficient and transparent functioning of the public administrations. So both are important. The citizen, the families, the households are at the center of everything, not the contrary. And especially important to the citizens are the arrows that I have marked here in blue, which are critical for the well-being of the citizens. Everything is important in an economic system, but the blue lines are where we think is the most critical things. And let me talk about the real economy. Because a common theme in the blockchain space is we have to decentralize this, we have to decentralize that. But the real economy is already very decentralized, and we need the blockchain to coordinate efficiently all the activities of many different independent and autonomous entities. There are 30 million businesses in Europe, and billions of euros can be saved and productivity improve a lot if coordination is enhanced. And if we speak about public administration services, then as you saw in EPSI, it is very much decentralized. And the real problem is to coordinate actions in a fast and efficient way, and blockchain can help. Everywhere we look at the scratch past the surface, we see coordination complexity that the blockchain can help reduce. And for each pair of entities that you saw on the diagram, interacting in the real economy, you see decentralized workflows between them, basically registering compromises, agreements, promises, certifications, etc. And with current technology, many things can go wrong because there is not a single source of truth. And reconciliation and inefficiency represents a significant cost, both monetary and for quality of service. And the end customer, the citizen, is the one suffering and paying for all that inefficiency. Many times with risk to the health or physical integrity. Think about food traceability, vaccination logistics in this pandemic, or thousands of other use cases not related to speculation. And for curiosity, you don't see payments in this picture because normally the payment is performed several weeks or months in Spain after the actual transactions have taken place. And if factoring and confirming are used, then the payments are among different entities that were not involved in the transaction. We can see that the volumes of transactions due to workflows are much higher than the number of payments in a real economy. And in the real economy, the real problem is selling, not getting paid. Trust is a key component of society and the economy. We all know that. And the lower the trust among participants, the higher the cost of transacting among those participants. But participants can be individuals, businesses, or even networks. So even though EPSI is a network of governments and public administrations, or better said, as Pietro said, has started as a network of governments and public administrations, the new identity system, this is my opinion, will be incredibly useful outside of EPSI, especially in the private sector. The future is not going to be a single network dominating the whole world and for all possible use cases. That's just impossible. The future is going to be a network of interoperable networks and, of course, including centralized systems. Why not? And this sounds like the internet. In reality, it sounds like the internet of value, the real internet of value. And I think that in order to cross network boundaries in a secure and efficient way, many independent networks, like the ones in Alaska, will use EPSI as an anchoring mechanism to share trusted facts about participants in different networks, not just in EPSI. And ESIF, the European Self-Sovereign Identity Framework, is going to play a crucial role in this interoperability. By the way, digital identity is the killer application to facilitate interoperability across different ecosystems and create a wider global ecosystem, but not only, as I said, across blockchain networks, but also including centralized systems that want to play in the ecosystem. We need a trusted common digital identity framework for Europe, for natural persons, businesses, and also for things and processes or workflows. This is critical for the future digitalization of the Eurozone, in my opinion. And given that the credential flow mainly is outside of the blockchain, the service provider receiving and verifying them could be in any part of the world. Doesn't have to be in a European country, as long as it trusts the origin network and has a trusted way to verify the credentials. So the service provider needs a trusted network. EPSI is. But this is how a network could achieve interoperability among applications that could use credentials from any trusted network. For example, a bank in Spain, in a network like Alastria, onboarding a new customer using credentials from EPSI and other European countries. And very critical, without requiring the connection of the infrastructures or having the bank participate with a node in the network where the credential is generated. You see here different service providers and trusted parties in one region of the world, and then trusted parties and service providers in another region of the world or in another network interoperating via the citizen. And this is exactly the critical point. At the end, I think this is the right way to describe most, not everything, but most interoperability problems across blockchain networks and their ecosystems. The most important thing, the citizen is in the center, controlling her data and receiving and sending her credentials from and to different networks. And the critical enabler, as I said, is that the networks trust to each other, at least in the areas where interoperability has to be achieved, in benefit of the citizen, who is the most important thing in the world. Again, it is up to the leaders and participants of the different networks. And I have painted here, for example, one ecosystem, and then the Italian ecosystem just launched, Pietro. It is up to us to create this feature, okay? For our part, we are completely open to start implementing cross-network applications that are interoperable, whether they are public administrations or the private sector or both, but always ensuring interoperability with EPSI as soon as it is in production. And this is the final slide, okay? This is another way to look at the problem. There are different interoperability layers. Pietro has explained all of them. I will not enter into this, but I would say that the key message is that it is very difficult for EPSI to achieve the level of capillarity in the private sector that other networks can achieve. And it is very difficult for those other networks in the private sector to get the solid regulatory grounding needed for an efficient cross-border network of networks. And by the way, I see the thousands of local governments, okay, small public administrations participating in the networks where the citizens and the businesses are. Or better said, given that there is not going to be a single network dominating everything, they are going to participate in several. And the bigger the commonalities among them, if we all use the same APIs, the same data models, etc., the easier it will be for them. I really hope that this vision can become a reality soon.